All right, everybody, welcome back. It is time for the deep dive. You know why we're here to dissect some source material, figure out what makes it tick, and today we are talking fighting games.
Yeah, someone out there is dreaming big about bringing back that classic fighting game feel, but with a modern twist.
We're talking about that wish list, that game that has everything you've ever wanted. I mean, the source material, it's got the gritty action, the customization, the online features.
It reads like a love letter to fighting games, and we are here to break it down.
So let's start with the good stuff, the combat system.
Yeah.
This creator is talking about taking the AKI grapple system, but like way deeper.
Oh, yeah, the AKI system, that's WWF No Mercy, WrestleMania 2000. Those games were legendary.
Yeah.
The grappling, the reversals, it had this flow that you just don't see in a lot of modern fighters.
And this creator wants to bring that back. But like you said, crank it up, add even more depth. Imagine combos flowing into command grabs. And then you throw in weapons, too.
Speaking of weapons, they didn't hold back here. We're talking bats, chairs, even stabbing weapons.
Stabbing weapons. Okay, now that's just brutal. It makes you wonder what kind of stages we're talking about here.
Right. You can't have stabbing weapons in just any old arena. This has got to be some underground Fight Club vibes,
Yeah, for sure. Gritty back alleys, rooftops with like broken glass everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is where things get really interesting because the creator doesn't stop there. They want to take customization to the next level.
And I'm not just talking about picking your costume here. We're talking full-on create a fighter height weight. You even get to design your own fighting style.
Okay, so we're not just picking from a list of pre-made characters. We're building our own from the ground up. That's crazy.
It's like they looked at games like Soul Calibur and said, yeah, we can do that even better. And get this, they even want to incorporate real-life clothing brands like Beep and K-Fifth.
Wait, hold up. Are you serious? So I can have my fighter rocking the latest streetwear while they're dropping elbows. That's amazing.
That's the idea. And it gets even wilder. They want to find a way to basically have rappers in the game.
Okay, now that's where things get legally complicated.
Right, licensing is a nightmare, but they're talking about DLC packs with like heads, body types, tattoos, maybe even fighting styles inspired by famous rappers.
So basically you build your own custom rapper fighter. That's pretty genius, actually.
It's a clever way to get around the legal hurdles while still giving players what they want. But here's the big question with all this customization. How do you create a compelling single-player experience? How does the story mode work?
Because you're not just creating a character, you're building a story. And the source material, it actually dives into that a little bit. They're talking about a story mode where you're a fighter on the run with a bounty hunter on your tail.
Okay, so we're in Bloodsport territory now.
Yeah, exactly. But with a twist. The creator mentions that the story is supposed to be open-ended. Your choices actually matter.
Okay, now that's ambitious, open-ended storytelling in a fighting game. That's tough to pull off.
Especially with all the customization we're talking about. How do you make a story that feels personal and impactful when your character could be literally anything?
It's a balancing act for sure. And that's what we're going to unpack right after this quick break. We'll be right back.
Don't go anywhere, folks. We're just getting started. So how do you make an open-ended story work in a fighting game? Especially one where you can customize basically everything.
That's the million-dollar question, right? I mean, we've seen games try branching narratives, moral choices, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but it's tough to make those choices feel meaningful. You know what I mean? They don't always have a real impact on the gameplay or the story.
Exactly. And in a fighting game especially, you're always going to have that core loop of, learning the combos, mastering the mechanics.
But it's all about the fight at the end of the day. So how do you weave a story into that without it feeling forced?
Well, the source material doesn't get into specifics, but they mention wanting the story to be different depending on your choices. No two playthroughs should be the same.
Okay. So maybe they're thinking like a morality system, where your decisions affect your character's alignment or something.
Or maybe it's more about branching paths. Different opponents, different endings, depending on who you side with or the choices you make along the way.
I mean, either way, it's super ambitious.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder how much of the game is going to be story-focused versus straight-up fighting.
Right, because you don't want to alienate players who just want to jump in and brawl, but at the same time, a good story mode can really elevate a fighting game.
No, totally.
Yeah.
Like, look at Mortal Kombat. They've really stepped up their story game in recent years.
Exactly. Those cinematic story modes are practically interactive movies at this point, but they're still grounded in that core fighting gameplay.
So the challenge is finding that balance, right? Making the story engaging without overshadowing the fighting itself.
Precisely. And speaking of challenges, this creator's ambition goes way beyond the story mode. They've got big plans for the overall scope of this game.
Oh, yeah. They're swinging for the fences with this one. I mean, they mentioned wanting meaningful progression, regular updates, events. It sounds like they're building a whole platform.
It's like they want this game to be a service, constantly evolving with new content and challenges to keep players engaged.
And that's what a lot of successful fighting games do these days.
Yeah.
Right? They create a community around the game with tournaments, leaderboards, all that stuff.
Exactly. But pulling that off is no easy feat. I mean, you need a dedicated team constantly working on updates, balancing patches, new content.
And let's not forget about server maintenance. Nobody wants to be stuck playing with lag or dealing with constant disconnects.
Oh, for sure. The online experience has got to be smooth, especially if they're going for this whole games-as-a-service approach.
So right off the bat, you're talking about a pretty hefty budget for this game. This isn't just some indie project.
Yo, this is AAA territory. We're talking millions of dollars, potentially, just to get it off the ground.
Yeah, between development costs, marketing licensing fees, it adds up quick. And that's before you even factor in the ongoing costs of running the servers and releasing new content.
It's a huge undertaking. But then again, if they're successful, the rewards could be massive.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look at games like Fortnite or Call of Duty. They rake in billions of dollars with their games-as-a-service model.
It's a whole different ballgame these days. But it all comes back to that core gameplay loop.
Yeah.
If the fighting isn't fun and engaging, none of that other stuff matters.
Exactly. You can have the best story mode in the world, the coolest characters, the most innovative online features. But if the fighting is clunky or unresponsive, people are going to check out.
100%. And that's where this creator's vision gets really intriguing, because they're not just trying to make a good fighting game, they're trying to revolutionize the genre.
Okay, how so?
They want to incorporate procedurally generated AI opponents.
And what does that even mean?
It means the AI opponents wouldn't be pre-programmed with a set of moves. They would learn and adapt to your playstyle. Every fight would be different.
Okay, now that's just next level.
Yeah.
It'll be like playing against a real person every time.
That's the idea, but the technical challenges involved are mind-boggling.
Yeah, I can imagine. How do you even begin to program an AI that can think like a human being?
That's the question, isn't it? And it's not just about mimicking human behavior. It's about creating an AI that can actually learn and adapt in real time.
I mean, it sounds incredible in theory, but how would you even begin to implement something like that? Where do you even start?
Well, the source material mentions wanting to combine elements of Tekken and Fight for NY, so maybe that's a clue.
Okay, so like the depth and combo system of Tekken with the gritty street fighting feel of Fight for NY?
Exactly. You'd need a system that's both complex and adaptable, something that allows for a wide range of fighting styles.
So the AI could analyze your moves, your timings, and then adjust its own strategy on the fly.
Right, like if you're playing super aggressive, always going for big combos, the AI might start using more counterattacks or defensive maneuvers.
And then if you switch up your style, start playing more cautiously, the AI would have to adapt again.
It would be like a constant game of chess, except your opponent can literally rewrite the rulebook at any moment.
That's insane.
Yeah.
But imagine the possibilities. No two fights would ever be the same. You'd have to constantly be on your toes, learning and adapting just like you would against a real human opponent.
That's the dream, right? To create an AI that's so advanced, it's practically indistinguishable from a human player.
It would be a game changer for the fighting game genre, no doubt about it. But even if they can pull it off, there's still the question of balance.
Oh, for sure. You don't want the AI to be so good that it feels impossible to beat.
Right. There's a fine line between challenging and just plain unfair.
Exactly. And finding that sweet spot takes a ton of testing and refinement.
Plus, you have to think about how the AI interacts with all the other systems in the game. The customization, the story mode, it all has to work together seamlessly.
It's a massive undertaking, no doubt about it. But if any of this even makes it into the final game, it has the potential to be something truly special.
Absolutely. We're talking about a game that's pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the fighting game genre.
A game that's not afraid to experiment, to try new things, to really innovate.
And that's what we love to see. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, right? Pushing the limits, seeing what's possible, creating something truly unique.
100%. And who knows? Maybe this deep dive will inspire someone out there to create the next big thing in fighting games.
And if they do, we'll be here to break it down for you. Until next time, keep those combos tight, your guard up, and most importantly, keep dreaming big, folks.
You see you next time.
Nandemoii-SAMA